Hello everyone, my name is Phil Rose and welcome to this first tutorial that I've ever made. And I'm going to make you a promise now that I will never start any video by saying, "Hey guys, how's it going?" or "What's going on guys?" or anything like that. No, I will try to be a little more creative. Anyway, I've decided to call this series of tutorials the Drawing Room, which is slightly ironic because I don't know how to draw a stickman. I am the world's worst artist. So if, like me, you are incapable of drawing, this is the place for you. Just to prove what I mean, I'm going to draw you a little stickman. There we go. That's a happy little guy that he is. Okay, so as you can see, not the world's greatest artist, but if you're looking to create something kind of interesting, hopefully we can do that anyway. So somebody asked me if I would show them how I drew a particular item. Let me bring it up. It's a minigun from the Fallout game series, which I like very much. And yeah, so we can zoom in. You can see I've been trying to create some textures and trying to make it look quite realistic. So there are some views of it. So I thought that would be a very good idea. I could choose a different weapon and see what I could do with that. So this program is Xnview, which is my digital assets manager, and I downloaded an image somewhere in here. Takes a few moments. This program is free, although you can donate. I donated $29, which is what I suggested, and it's really a great little program. Ignore that. I happen to know for a fact that this is the item that we're looking for. There it is. So I'm just going to drag that in, and I've really failed, haven't I? I've already failed. Get rid of that. This is going to be a series of videos by a man who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So if you are feeling inspired to make a video, hopefully I can help by the fact that even a moron like me can do this. So once again, I created myself a new page now, and I made it letter size. You can make it any size you like. I live in the US, even though you may have noticed that I'm British. So I've brought this guy in, and this gun is the anti-armor piercing automatic assault rifle, and it's a legendary item, which you can see by this little star here. Who cares? You don't. So I've dragged it onto the page and I've made it a good size, and now I'm actually going to click this lock button because we don't want to be selecting that while we're doing something else. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to create a layer. And what I try to do, and this usually falls apart pretty quickly, but I try to create this folder called My Stuff, or this layer rather, and keep everything that I am doing inside that so that I can turn it off and go immediately see the image that I'm working from, that I'm attempting to recreate, by simply turning off this, which has everything that I've created inside it. Doesn't always work. Things tend to just kind of splay out, fall out, but we'll see. Fallout, haha. So having got this on, we need to decide what are we going to start? Where are we going to start? Doesn't really matter. You can start wherever you like. So I'm thinking I might start with this drum. Hold on just 1 second. My cat wants to go out there. One moment. Sorry about that. So yeah, we'll start with this drum. So within this folder, I'm going to create another folder. Layer. I mean, yeah, I know it's a layer. And I'm going to call that drum. And actually, I failed to put that inside. I should have clicked on this button inside the selection. But that doesn't matter. I can just drag that inside there. So now drum is within My Stuff. So within that, I am going to create well, first thing I'm going to do, because currently I'm in the publisher persona, and for this I want to be in the designer persona, so I just click that, instantly pop over to designer, and I get a whole different set of tools over here. And I'm going to start by drawing, I think, this rectangle here. So there we go there, that's a rectangle. I can actually, just for now, I could actually take the drum layer and reduce the opacity just temporarily so that I can see through it and see what it is that I want to do. But first I'm going to work on the color, so I won't do that. So I am working on this rectangle, and what I tend to do is to try not to have sharp corners. So I'm going to give this a rounded corner, but it's going to be very marginally rounded, just say like 3% perhaps. So yeah, that's good. And I'm going to go to my color swatch or color tab, I guess, drag over, and I'm going to grab a color, something like that, as a good starting point, and then I'm going to fill that item with that. So okay, that's a good base, but what we really want to do, things aren't really flat in reality. You can see nothing is flat on this real gun. So I'm going to give it a graduated fill, linear graduated fill, just that's the default that will come up. And if I click on this guy, it's got a lot of blue in it, and I don't really know why that is. So I'm just going to select that. Now it's the same as the other end, but now I can just either darken or lighten that, and I think lightening it looks better. Now here is the where the magic begins, in my opinion. Down here you've got the opacity. If I click that, it becomes noise, and oh, does that begin to make it look real. That looks way more real. The other item that I really like to do in order to make this seem real is I hit the FX button, drag that over, and Gaussian blur, and I'm just going to nudge that up a little bit, and look at that edge. I think that looks way more realistic, just as it begins to fuzz a little bit. You can also start playing with other items, 3D maybe. 3D, I'm still struggling with this. I'm certainly not an expert, but yeah, I'm going to change the direction of the light a little bit until it gets dark. I really want it quite dark. Well, that makes it look as though the light is coming from bottom right, and that's no good. It's got to be from top left. So yeah, maybe it's something like that. That's pretty good. So I'll close that, and then so like I told you, if I delete this, or rather turn off that, I can then see what is below. So each of these indentations is really going to need to be done individually in this case, because each one has a very different treatment. So I turn that back on, and I'm going to choose the rounded rectangle. I'm going to place that inside here, if you remember that, because I clicked on this button, it's going to place it inside my selection, which is the rounded rectangle. I'll draw that. That looks like a pretty good size. How are we going to make this look more like that which is underneath it? What I have discovered, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, is, I've created a few styles over here, and we'll maybe go through that at another time, but if I just click on that, that's a pretty good start. But I can see that my graduated fill is angled at a really strange angle, so I'm going to do this. And if I hold down Shift, that'll maintain that straight angle. So that's pretty good, I think. You select off it. Yeah, that's pretty good, but what is the effects? There's something going on with the effects. It's really hard to... Oh, hang on. This is going to be with a charm. One of the charms of this delightful channel is going to be that I'm just going to mess everything up fairly frequently. So this is what I want to be selected on. So I go into FX again, and in fact it's not using 3D in this case. It's using Bevel and Emboss, and I might see if I change that, whether that might in fact be better. So the direction we were going for was more like that. But what if I did bevel and emboss too and then did inner? Yeah, maybe. Well, I might play about with that a little bit more because it looks like it's coming out instead of going in. Would you agree? Yes, I think so. Something else that I've really enjoyed is the discovery that if I take this pen tool and I click inside, is this still, yeah, inside here, I'm going to draw a line from there and I'm holding down shift, although I've got snapping turned on, so it is allowing me to get that right anyway. So I've created myself just a line and it's currently in black. So I'm going to expand that quite significantly to quite a wide line like that. And I'm going to change the color to white. Oh, see, I told you, the charm of my getting it wrong. So charming. I meant to do the outline, not the fill. So the stroke, not the fill. So that's white, and if I zoom in further, it's already a little fuzzy, which is interesting. I think that's because it's placed inside of this object. But we want to make it even more fuzzy. So I'm just going to up this Gaussian blur. And you'll find that, too far. You'll find that you can easily create quite an effective specular reflection there. Say like that. So that, you know, you would play about with that. So that's effectively how I do the basics of this work. Creating that, and again, turn this off, I can see what's behind it. Well, we could create this as well. So I think that the way that I would do that, well, I could try doing literally just something like this, and then going into effects again and whapping up the. That's pretty good. You know, again, I would play with that. I think that needs to be, in fact, that would need to be, I think, within the rounded rectangle and behind that guy. Nope. What fun this is, isn't it? Dagnabbit. Okay, I'm going to have to undo that because I've lost it, basically. There it is. So this is always a matter of trial and error, trying to get this right. I spent many years using Adobe products, and as a result, I'm finding this fairly tricky to get used to because these things just work in a very different way. This is the rounded rectangle, that's there, so I really just want this within that group, but behind that guy. Oh, it's because that, okay, I'm beginning to understand this. It's because this is within a larger group. I won't worry about that for now. Let's not worry about that. So the next item I wanted to show you, or the next technique I wanted to show you, involves dirtying this up. If you remember, on this minigun, there's a lot of all this spattering within here. That sort of item is it's really important to add that in order to get the dirt and the realism and the sort of texturing that we're looking for. So if I select on that guy, we're going to paint within this. So I'm going to switch over to the photo persona. So now again, tools have changed, and in this case we're going to go for a vector paintbrush. And here we have all my brushes. Now I've got a whole bunch of brushes that I've downloaded over the years or months. And just try textures. It's really a case of trial and error to get the right one. So I'm going to go for this grunge pattern 02 first. And then over under colors, I'm sorry, not under color, under swatches, I created dirt colors, and that I'm going to drag swatches out. And I'm going to choose, say, brown, a pretty good dirt color there. And we're going to paint within. So again, we're clicking insert inside the selection, and reduce the size somewhat, and there we go. It's starting to appear there, and this is where a tablet is very useful. I have a tablet here that allows me to do this, tapping away here. And if you're interested, you can also look within the brush. So click on more, and then under here we've got dynamics. So size jitter is a nice one, and also general. We want to set set wet edges to on. Reduce the size of that a little bit and start painting. And I'm also going to press the number 3, and at the top up here you see that set the opacity to 3, because I really want to be making, as I'm painting, I want it to be pretty transparent, so that I can keep tapping away and building up. And you can see that that's pretty nice there. And because I click the insert inside, you can see that it is not going outside of this box. And I would say that's a pretty good start there for that beginning of that drum. Now obviously, like I say, you would need to add all of these items, and then I might do another one. If people enjoy this terrible first attempt at a tutorial, just let me know, and let me know if I'm going too fast, let me know if I'm missing things out, let me know in the comments below, hit the subscribe, all that stuff. But basically this is how I draw. I lay the initial image down, lock it out, and then create a folder above it. I'm going to continue to call them folders because they look like folders when you create them and you stuff things into them. That's what I call a folder. And then I just spend a long time. In fact, let me open up my. So Minigun Flattened was one that I flattened all of the image or all of the gun in the foreground and went into photo, and I used lighting in order to give it. Let me just. So you can see there's some more lighting on this than there is on this, just a little bit. It's like a little bit darker in areas. But in here you can see that I have got, this is big drum. Within big drum, things that there are groups. Drum edge is that one. And actually the program really begins to slow down because there is a lot of stuff in here. And then the rectangle is that's the main drum, and within the rectangle we've just got a mask and and a pixel. This pixel. I wanted to show you this one other thing, which on this dirt here I actually used effects, and I added Bevel and Emboss, and you can see it really kind of pops. It adds some directional lighting to that as well. So that's really all there is to it so far. It's just a case of drawing and drawing and drawing, adding layers, adding as much texture as you really can. Again, remember these are a white line, and just upping so I do it in sections, little sections, and then upping the Gaussian blur, and this would have to be placed within something in order to cut it off if you've got a Gaussian blur, otherwise it's just going to bleed over here and here. So you'd have to place it within a container. Does this help at all? Am I in any way helping? Please let me know in the comments below, and please be kind because this is my first attempt at anything like this. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and that perhaps it will help a little bit.